What's going on YouTube? Listen up, young elder gang. This is Ted Strokes at you with another banger. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, fam. I hope this video get at least 100,000 likes. In this video, you will find history, definitions, scripture, information, and best of all, what we Americans have been deprived of from the beginning, the truth. Keep in mind, this content used in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. We will give you the total truth as we best understand it today. Be sure to hit that like button, young elder gang. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit that bell and don't forget to check back with us every day for new content. Alright, let's get started. Okay, I have something. And it's so deep, and I was debating on talking about it because of how deep and how kind of spooky and scary it gets. But it is also very intriguing. The cult of the Black Cube, better known as the Saturn death cult. It goes deep, and it's been going on since the dawn of man. The global elite worship the dark side of the planet Saturn and uses occult symbols in modern institutions, and it's been going on since the creation or upgrading of humans by the Anunnaki. It started with the fallen angels, and it all revolves around the God Saturn. The story goes that the God Saturn, one attribute of him is that he gave birth to all these titans, basically, and he became jealous of them that they would try to overthrow him. So, he ate all of them. This god Saturn is also the god Baal, also the god Molech, who is Adad's son of Enlil, the Anunnaki son of Anu. Zeus is another name for Enlil. Keep in mind, Baal worship is prevalent in basically every ancient and modern satanic order. A lot of people do not recognize that they have been worshiping a religion that is far darker and more confusing than your overstanding has allowed you to see. People worship this black cube, which is encoded into many religions all around the world. It's called in secret Saturnalia. Saturnalia is based off the Roman god of Saturn, who is the father of Zeus. There had been some debate on whether Cronus was the god of time, Kronos, or the father of Zeus, the god who ate his own children. In our modern times, the two gods have merged as one greater god, a dark god that rules over everything and everyone. To worship Saturn means to worship time itself. It means to understand that you do not have enough of it. Death is a major precipice in the belief in Saturnalia, as well as the inescapable darkness associated with death. Simply put, the concept is that sin itself is unavoidable, and that one must engage in extreme penance in order to escape from the sin that is seen as being inherent in our human nature. Saturn is also the belief in a nature that is unforgiving. The kingly presence that governs this energy body is one of divine right of rule, but it is from a darker presence. This being or archetype wants to get things done, but it is not hesitant of making small adjustments in order to meet an end goal. It is a masculine nature in and of itself, rejecting the divine mother, the Rhea and Gaia energy, and eating one's own child, the divine child, in order to stay alive even for a slightly longer period of time. Keep in mind, Saturn represents Satan, which is a title. The one who holds this title is Adad's son of Enlil, which is connected with the astrology Capricorn, which is a representation of the goat, as in Baphomet. Elon Musk has unveiled the newest logo for his artificial intelligence, Grok. If you look closely, it bears a striking resemblance to Saturn. A lot of the major companies use Saturn as their logo, like Saturn Cars Company, Nike, Bud Light, Pepsi, AOL Internet, Amazon, AAA, Capital One, Comcast Cable, Newport Cigarettes, Whirlpool Appliances, Burger King, NASA, Boeing Airplane Company, Toyota Car Company, just to name a few. This has been going on for a while right under your nose. This whole concept of the cult of the Black Cube is all over. If you go basically to any major financial district within the world, they all, including CERN, which is not a financial district, but they all have a monument of a black cube in their financial districts. They believe by worshiping this black cube, they're able to tap into this realm or this deity to be able to enslave the masses, and they believe that the Federal Reserve was based off of that. And so it would be slave to debt, and that was this whole going back to Saturn thing. It was a slave to debt or slave to materialism type of ideology. Now it makes you wonder, what is the Black Stone, the Kaaba in Mecca, all about? A lot of this has to do with child sacrifice to Baal, who has the deal with the draconian reptilians. We are all within the black cube matrix. You're probably wondering, what are these black cubes? What do they symbolize? Why are they in every major city around the world? I'm here to tell you that this black cube represents the cube of Saturn, the very cube found on the North Pole of Saturn. This dark spot on the top of Saturn that is in the shape of a hexagon, and if you take the hexagon, which is a two-dimensional shape, and you make it a three-dimensional shape, it makes a cube. The truth is far stranger than you might believe. In the occult realm, Saturn is known as Father Time, and its symbology is evident everywhere you look. The planets aren't what you believe they are, they're not what you've been told. Behind these 7 energies that we call planets, there lies a far deeper meaning. The elites in power seem to worship Saturn, given that their symbols are pervasive. Take Michael Jackson's album cover, for instance. It features the word escape, set against Saturn's rings. What do you think he's trying to tell us? Venture into the world's secrets and you'll find a web of mysteries and esoteric knowledge hidden in plain sight. The black cube matrix is one such enigma. The symbols are everywhere from public sculptures in major cities to covert emblems in pop culture. Yet only the initiated recognize them when one gazes upon the prominent structures in places such as New York, London, and Tokyo. The recurrent theme of the black cube emerges standing tall and unwavering. To the untrained eye, they might appear as mere architectural choices, but to those who are attuned to the esoteric world, it symbolizes a hidden truth. The cube of Saturn, located on the north pole of the planet, is the very black cube that you see represented across our world. The cube is not merely a geometric shape, it is an emblem of power, an indicator of knowledge and dominion, and the nexus of the ancient and the modern. To understand this connection, one must delve into the occult significance of Saturn, known in esoteric circles as Father Time. Saturn is depicted with his scythe representing both creation and destruction. While many in the contemporary world see planets as mere celestial bodies, the occult knows them as energies, forces, and deities. Saturn is not just a planet, it is an embodiment of time, discipline, and cycles. For why the obsession with Saturn? The elite powers that be understand the significance of the energies these celestial bodies hold. They believe that by worshipping Saturn and tapping into its energy, they can harness its power. Evidence of this can be found in numerous symbols and emblems: corporate, logos, movies, music, albums, and even fashion. They're not simply representations, they're talismans. Take, for instance, like we said, Michael Jackson's album Them Escape. The title itself implies a desire to break free, but what's more intriguing are the Saturn rings clearly depicted on the cover. Is it merely an aesthetic choice, or was the king of pop suddenly communicating a deeper message, a cry for liberation from the very matrix we're discussing? And Michael Jackson isn't the only one. Numerous artists, filmmakers, and writers have woven a Saturnian symbolism into their works, nudging the aware viewer towards a greater truth. However, to say that space isn't real would be an oversimplification. What's meant by this is that our understanding of space, inculcated by mainstream narratives, is limited and skewed. The cosmos is not just a vast emptiness dotted with celestial bodies. It's a canvas of energies, stories, and truths waiting to be deciphered. The science of a black cube can refer to several things depending on the context. In the context of science, it could refer to a black box as in a complex system whose inner workings are not fully understood. It could also refer to the use of black cubes in research, such as the Heisenberg black cube used in early nuclear research. In science and engineering, a black box represents a device or system whose inner workings are not fully understood. We know the inputs and outputs, but not the internal processes. The Heisenberg black cube, made of natural uranium, was part of an early attempt to create a nuclear reactor during World War II. While the system of cubes was intended to create a chain reaction, the attempt was ultimately unsuccessful. Black cube can also refer to a physical object, such as tefillin, a small black leather box used in Jewish prayer, which is all connected to this group. Additionally, there's a consulting firm called Black Cube that provides intelligence and advisory services in legal and white-collar crime cases. This Black Cube group is connected with the Greek god Pan, who is half goat, half man, which connects with Peter Pan. Pan connects with the Baphomet, which connects with Baal Adad. The black box is Pandora's box. In Greek mythology, Pandora's box, or Pandora's jar, is a story that explains the presence of evil and suffering in the world. It's a metaphor for a situation that releases a cascade of troubles, or an action that unleashes unintended negative consequences. In the myth, Zeus creates Pandora, the first woman, as a punishment for humanity after Prometheus gives them fire. He gives her a jar, or box depending on the version, containing all the evils of the world, such as disease, sorrow, and vice. Pandora is warned not to open the box, but her curiosity gets the best of her and she lifts the lid. When she opens it, all the evils inside are released upon humanity, bringing about suffering and hardship. The phrase, Pandora's box, is now used to describe any situation or action that leads to unexpected and negative consequences, like a chain reaction of trouble. Let's unravel the significance of the 7 energies we term planets in the occult world. The number 7 holds an immense significance. There are 7 chakras, 7 ancient wonders of the world, and 7 deadly sins. These planets are not just wandering celestial objects, they are the embodiment of 7 fundamental energies that influence our world. The elites recognize this, their obsession with these energies. Especially Saturn is not mere superstition, it's an understanding of the interconnectedness of the universe. Mercury, for instance, emits a unique frequency that influences quantum vibrations in our own atomic structures. These frequencies don't just carry messages, they resonate on a subatomic level, subtly altering electron behaviors, linking neural pathways, and affecting the very essence of thought transference. Venus, bathed in its radiant glow, emanates particle waves that interact with the magnetism of our world. Its pole affects more than just gravitational tides. It exerts force on the elemental magnetite found within living organisms, influencing biological attractions and the interconnected dance of life itself. Mars, with its iron-rich soil, releases a distinct cosmic radiation. This energy, detectable by the most sensitive of instruments, seems to stimulate our primal instincts. It is speculated that these radiations affect our adrenaline production and other biochemical pathways, evoking that innate drive within us. Jupiter, the colossal force in our solar system, emits a potent energy field that affects the spin of electrons in our environment. This spin manipulation, according to esoteric physicists, might be linked to the expansive and abundant feelings associated with this great planet. Saturn's ring system, beyond its visible beauty, scatters charged particles throughout its vicinity. These particles, when they interact with Earth's own magnetic field, can influence our perception of time and the cyclical nature of our existence. Uranus, with its off-kilter axis, emits asymmetrical energy waves that challenge and disrupt the standard quantum patterns. This might be why during specific uranium alignments there are noticeable shifts in innovation and revolutionary thinking. Neptune, the mystic of our solar system, stands forth subsonic frequencies. These frequencies are believed to resonate with our pineal gland, often called the third eye, potentially opening pathways to deeper realms of consciousness. When we shift our perspective from the mystical to the subatomic, we realize that the planets offer more than just symbolic energy. They engage with us on a quantum level, altering the very fabric of our being, intertwining science with the arcane, revealing the occult truths of her cosmos. There's an ancient saying, as above, so below. This age-old principle, echoing through the corridors of Hermetic traditions, encapsulates the idea that our vast cosmos, with its myriad patterns, mirrors the intricate events on Earth. Such is the essence of the black cube and Saturnian energies interweaving celestial and terrestrial realms, hinting at forces that shape not just our spiritual journey, but even pragmatic aspects of our lives, like our financial markets. J.P. Morgan, the Titan financier, was no stranger to these connections. Many recall his statement, "Millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do," which is far from a casual remark. It reveals Morgan's genuine belief in the ties between planetary movements and market ebbs and flows. He leaned on astrologers, tapping into age-old wisdom to strategize in business, drawing connections from the stars to Wall Street. Speaking of the stars, while many of us have dabbled in traditional astrology, it's hard to ignore the black cube matrix and Saturnian energy, which are not mere esoteric symbols. They rippled through our society, influencing everything from our buildings to our bank accounts. Morgan's legacy is proof that some of elite figures don't just understand these connections. They harness them. In conclusion, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, the universe whispers its secrets. Beyond just spiritual introspection, these cosmic energies seep into our daily grind. Peering beyond the surface, there is a vast tapestry of interconnectedness waiting for us to unravel its mysteries. It's an invitation urging us to look up, connect the dots, and harness the boundless foreign universe of unlimited energy. The moon has long stood as a beacon, casting its silvery light across cultures, religions, and secret societies. Its pole reaches not just the ocean's tides, but seeps into the human psyche and our physiological rhythms and ancient power. It is deeply woven into the fabric of our beliefs. Consider menstruation, or moon's duration, a monthly cycle echoing the moon's own wax and wane. This phenomenon, which happens exclusively during the fertile years, held symbolic potency in bygone cultures, The menstrual blood, often perceived with a mix of awe and trepidation, has perhaps influenced the use of red ochre by our forefathers. Even today, rituals and practices surrounding menstruation persist, reflecting age-old beliefs. This reverence for the menstrual cycle might be why events like the Witches' Sabbath were intricately linked to lunar phases, painting the moon in strokes of mystery and reverence delve deeper. And the Sabbath's significance becomes even clearer once the heart rests of the moon. This day was co-opted by the Jews and later the Christians, shifting it towards a more solar and masculine deity. This transition also brought about a shift from the matriarchal 13-month lunar calendar with its symbolic 13 zodiac houses to the solar 12-month structure, a subtle nuance. But these 12 houses are evocative of the 12 zodiac signs, a potent parallel to Jesus and his 12 disciples. Hidden figures in the dance of celestial worship. Astrotheology, or the theology of stars, is the ancient study of these celestial patterns and their divine implications. The concealed number 13, the hidden month, is a testament to the Earth Mother's power and significance. It's in the very fabric of religious foundations, Christ as the sun, Mary's ties to the moon, and the 12 disciples as the zodiac. This lunar influence extends to the deities worshipped across cultures: Aphrodite, Ishtar, Isis. While their names may differ due to regional nuances, they are essentially manifestations of the same energy. The Gnostic Sophia, or wisdom secret societies, have been the guardians of these lunar secrets, sheltering them through ages, even as they skirmished or assimilated with dominant solar cults. The profound impact of the moon on human psychology and physiology isn't just a stuff of legends. Terms like lunatic, drawn from the moon, underscore this connection. Historical data reveals patterns linked to lunar cycles, higher incidence of kleptomania, arson, and even driving mishaps during full moons. Rituals such as the Jewish Passover and the Christian Easter are scheduled around lunar events, hinting at the moon's profound influence on our traditions. Intriguingly, the lunar cycle also appears to have sway over birds. A 1948 to 1957 New York study of 500,000 births indicated more births during a waning moon, even in remote Germany. Birds seemed to align with high tides as the moon passed overhead. Eugene Jonas in the 1960s delved into the lunar influences on ovulation-boosting contraception's effectiveness. Astonishingly, however, it isn't just humans that are impacted. Frank Brown's groundbreaking research unveiled that creatures ranging from oysters to rats are governed by lunar cycles, despite initial skepticism from the scientific community. Brown's findings illuminated the omnipresent lunar influence on Earth's inhabitants in the dance of cosmic bodies. The ancients discerned gods shaping their destinies. Today, as we unravel the moon's mysteries, we find a tapestry of secrets where each thread holds a story of reverence, power, and balance, the dual nature of cosmic energies. The black cube is connected to the crescent moon, the celestial realm, a vast expanse where the Saturn, the moon, and countless other bodies reside, seems most active under the cloak of night. This nocturnal setting, deepened inscrutable, offers a backdrop against which the dance of these celestial bodies is most vivid. The Saturnine chronology, the moon's enigmatic waltz, and even the silent whisper of stars. All these narratives unfold primarily in the silent hours of the dark. This preponderance of celestial activity at night prompts us to ponder. Is there an inherent darkness or shadow in these events and energies? The ancient pagan traditions, after all, were deeply connected with night. They revered the moon and other celestial bodies, drawing energy and power from the cosmos during nighttime rituals and ceremonies. This association with the pagan energies, often misunderstood or even feared in various cultures, raises questions about the nature of the forces we tap into when we attune ourselves to the cosmos. However, to hastily equate the night and its mysteries with something sinister would be a gross oversimplification. The universe in all its vastness holds a balance. Just as there's day, there's night. For every right, there's left. This duality is inherent in the very fabric of existence. It's a reminder that all energies, be they from the sun or the farthest star, emanate from the same divine source. I choose to believe that everything, every planet, star, and nebula, is an expression of the divine. If we view the cosmos through this lens, then every nocturnal mystery becomes a chapter in a grand tale written by the hands of the Creator. This perspective invites us to love and embrace both the light of day and the secrets of night, understanding that they are two sides of the same cosmic coin. In the end, as we peer into the depths of the universe seeking understanding and connection, it's essential to approach these mysteries with an open heart, for in the balance of day and night, right and left, light and shadow, we find the true essence of the cosmos, a symphony of energies that, while varied in nature, originate from the same divine source. This realization is perhaps the most profound secret of all. Some people often have to resist the urge to say Saturnine Gnosis because the experiences, rituals, and practices that people follow are ultimately connected to chthonic entities and their ruling intelligence that fundamentally is not a good or kindly being, namely the Saturnine deity. Indeed, the term Saturnine, or more commonly Saturn Gnosis, shares its ambiguity with many, if not most, occult concepts and tags. Whereas, to the uninformed reader, its constituent elements, Saturn Gnosis, may seem to be straightforward enough, any closer, in-depth look will reveal multiple different layers of meaning, a good many of which appear to be downright contradictory, that is, incompatible with one another. This has made for a lot of bewilderment and occasionally bitter disputes within the various occult communities throughout the ages, with little effort being spent on analyzing the specific factors, philosophical, intellectual, societal, historical, or summarily cultural, governing and fundamentally informing this intrinsic equivocation. Thus, many occultists, writers, readers, teachers, acolytes, and practitioners may be and indeed are aware that Saturn as a planetary deity symbolically stands for the guardian of the threshold, as is the case, for example, in classical astrology. However, this epithet does not easily and certainly not intuitively comply with equating Saturn to the salvific figures of Lucifer, more commonly a traditional denotation of the morning and/or evening star, that is Venus, and Prometheus, not to mention the contrarian and, to many, sinister character Satan, as a number of other schools and traditions are wont to do. The Greek term gnosis, in turn, is generally translated as knowledge. This, while technically accurate, omits to address the fact that what is typically implied by gnosis within a philosophical or metaphysical context is actually knowledge of a revelatory and salvific type that goes way beyond mere intellectual cognitive ratiocination. Contrary to common parlance, where it may stand for basically any set of data and information, video, for example, coder speak in information technology, in occultism, it is imprinted by its reference to antique Gnosticism, an eminently ambiguous term in its own right, whose definition has been and actually still is subject to ongoing furious academic debates for the better part of 2 centuries. Longer, in fact, if you choose to factor in the early Church Fathers' contention and propaganda concerning the Gnostics' purported hereticism. This ambiguity issue is nothing new, of course, and everyone who has devoted more than perfunctory attention to the history of occultism is basically aware of it. The black cube of Saturn is not simply an abstract symbol or esoteric curiosity. It is an ancient technology of control, deeply embedded in the structure of the universe, in human history, and in the very psyche of every individual. Its hidden influence permeates our society, our religions, our institutions, and even our minds, shaping the very way we think, live, and experience the world. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is the truth that has been veiled, concealed, and manipulated for millennia by those who benefit from keeping humanity in a state of limitation. The black cube is not just a symbol of restriction, it is a mechanism of spiritual imprisonment, designed to bind our consciousness and keep us enslaved to the material world, denying us access to higher dimensions of existence, to the infinite potential we are meant to experience. This book seeks to reveal the black cube as the powerful force that it is, a force that can be transcended only when we fully awaken to its presence and shatter its grip. Saturn, the cosmic taskmaster and the force of restriction. Saturn, the 6th planet from the Sun, is known as the Lord of Time and the taskmaster of the cosmos. It is the planet of limitation, boundaries, and karma, the force that governs the cycles of birth, life, and death. In astrology, Saturn is often described as the cosmic authority figure, the one that brings hard lessons, structures, and the reality check that limits our desires. But what if these limitations go deeper than merely cosmic laws? They are part of a universal system of control. The black cube is Saturn in material form, a shape that represents finite reality, hard boundaries, and rigid structures. It is the ultimate symbol of restriction, whether in the form of physical, mental, or spiritual constraints. Its shape is perfect: 6 sides, 6 corners, and 6 edges, representing the completion of the material world in all its limiting and cyclical nature. The cube embodies the mortal condition, boxed in, confined, unable to escape the cyclical patterns of life and death, of desires and suffering. But there is a hidden paradox here. The cube is not just about limitation. It is also a prison for the human soul, a prison designed to keep us tied to the material world and prevent us from breaking free into higher planes of existence. The black cube is the symbol of spiritual entrapment, a tool that binds the human spirit to the material, linear world, cutting us off from the infinite dimensions of consciousness that lie beyond. One of the most overt and subtle manifestations of the black cube is the Kaaba in Mecca, the most sacred site in Islam. Millions of pilgrims circle this sacred black cube, an act that on the surface may seem like a gesture of faith. However, its deeper meaning is an act of submission to a higher power, a force that keeps human consciousness bound within a structured hierarchical system. The Kaaba is the ultimate symbol of externalized power. It signifies that spiritual connection to the divine must occur through an institutionalized system, not through individual transcendence or personal communion. Just like the black cube, it represents a closed system, a cycle of devotion, obedience, and conformity. It limits the individual's direct connection to the divine, reinforcing the idea that spiritual fulfillment requires submission to an external authority rather than an intimate, unmediated connection with Source. In this sense, the Kaaba isn't just a place of worship. It is a symbol of spiritual confinement, an anchor that keeps millions of souls locked within the walls of religious conformity. The black cube in Mecca is a constant reminder that true liberation cannot occur until we move beyond these structures and reconnect with the infinite source within. The Freemasons have long used the symbolism of the black cube in their rituals, seeing it as the representation of the rough ashlar, the unshaped stone that must be molded to fit into a predetermined structure. The black cube in Freemasonry symbolizes the spiritual work that needs to be done to refine the soul, to transform it from its rough state to a perfect one. But is this true spiritual refinement, or is it simply a form of mental control that keeps individuals locked within the hierarchy of the Masonic system? At its core, Freemasonry is an elite institution that guards the keys to spiritual wisdom, while restricting access to those on the outside. The cube is a symbol of the hierarchical structure within the order, where knowledge is reserved for a select few, and the rest remain in the dark. It is a system of control dressed up as spiritual enlightenment. Through ritual and secrecy, Freemasonry uses the black cube to reinforce a spiritual hierarchy, subtly dictating the path to truth while maintaining dominance over the masses. Thus, while Freemasonry claims to provide spiritual awakening, it ultimately limits true freedom by keeping members tied to an external system of belief, thus reinforcing the structure of control symbolized by the cube. Just as the Kaaba symbolizes external submission, the Masonic cube keeps the initiate trapped within an esoteric belief system, a system that is ultimately just another box. In the modern world, the black cube has transcended its ancient origins and entered the digital age, where it has become an essential symbol of control and surveillance. Consider the Apple logo, which bears a striking resemblance to the black cube. While it may seem like a minimalist design choice, the Apple logo symbolizes the containment of human consciousness within a corporate framework. The digital world created by corporations like Apple is no longer just about providing convenience. It is about controlling the flow of information, tracking desires, and constructing a digital reality in which we are all trapped. The black cube in this context represents a modern-day panopticon, a digital prison where we are watched, analyzed, and manipulated by those who control the platforms. Every interaction, every purchase, every post is data that feeds into a larger system designed to control our thoughts, our desires, and our actions. Corporate power and the digital surveillance state are now intimately tied to the symbolism of the cube. It is no longer just a physical object. It has become a symbol of the digital prison we all live in. In this system, we are commodified and our every move is tracked. Corporate and governmental powers that use the black cube metaphor now own our consciousness, guiding our every decision, shaping our desires, and making us compliant in our own enslavement. One of the most insidious ways the black cube operates in modern society is through education. When students graduate, they are often seen wearing a square cap, the mortar board, which symbolizes their ** entry into the real world. But the very shape of this cap, the square, carries an important message: the boxed-in nature of the mind. Graduation is a rite of passage that marks the end of formal education, yet the very symbol of the mortarboard speaks to the fact that we have been conditioned to think in rigid, structured ways. Instead of encouraging creative freedom or independent thought, The education system reinforces a predetermined set of values that mold individuals into obedient participants of the material world. The black cube isn't just a symbol worn on our heads, it is the very structure of our thinking, ingrained through a lifetime of indoctrination. Graduation, then, becomes an acceptance of the cube, a recognition that we are ready to conform to societal systems, to play our roles within the larger structure, to be part of the matrix. True freedom is not about conforming to any system or belief. It is about breaking free from the mental and spiritual prison of the black cube and realizing that the universe is infinitely expansive. It is not a prison, but a playground for infinite consciousness. To break free, we must first recognize the box we are in. Once we realize that the cube is a symbol of limitation, we can begin to shatter its hold on us. We must awaken to our divine sovereignty, the innate power within us to create our own realities, free from the constraints imposed by religion, government, and corporate structures. True spiritual awakening comes when we reject the external authorities that seek to control us, and instead return to the infinite wellspring of consciousness within. The black cube represents the forces that seek to bind us, whether through religion, societal norms, or the digital matrix. But we are not meant to live in a box. The key to spiritual liberation is recognizing that we were never meant to live within the cube's confines. We are meant to expand, to transcend, to connect with the infinite. And once we recognize this, we can begin the process of shattering the cube once and for all. Conclusion: reclaiming our divine sovereignty. The black cube of Saturn represents the forces that control and restrict humanity's spiritual potential, forces that seek to impose limitation and conformity on our consciousness. But liberation from these chains is not just possible, it is essential. By recognizing the cube for what it is, a tool of spiritual subjugation and mental confinement, we can begin to dismantle the walls that have been erected around our minds and souls. The cube, whether in the form of religious doctrine, corporate control, or educational programming, is only powerful as long as we believe it holds authority over us. The moment we awaken to our true nature, to our inherent divinity and infinite potential, we break free from its grip. The journey of liberation involves rejecting external authority and realizing that our connection to the divine is not filtered through a religious institution, a corporate entity, or an esoteric hierarchy. True spirituality comes from within. It is a personal and direct experience of the universe, free from the chains of restriction. We were not born to be bound to rigid systems, doctrines, or material desires. We are born to explore the infinite possibilities of consciousness and existence. By confronting the black cube and understanding its origins and purpose, we can begin to reclaim our spiritual sovereignty. We are meant to exist beyond the limitations of the material world, free to explore higher dimensions of reality and awareness. To do so, we must shatter the cube, symbolically, spiritually, and mentally, by rejecting the systems of control that have kept us confined. The cube is not the end of our story, it is a catalyst for awakening. Once we see it for what it is, we can begin the process of spiritual transcendence. The journey towards liberation is the journey towards realizing our divine potential and the infinite freedom that lies beyond the material realm. The final awakening: becoming the architects of our reality. The black cube is an instrument of control, but it is not invincible. It has been designed to limit our perception, our creativity, and our spiritual potential. But once we recognize its presence, we gain the power to transcend it. The final step in breaking free from the black cube is to reclaim our ability to create our own reality. No longer will we be defined by external structures or societal expectations. Instead, we must become the architects of our own lives, constructing our reality based on our highest ideals, truths, and desires. We are spiritual beings with infinite potential, connected to the cosmos, and it is only by recognizing this fundamental truth that we can break free from the artificial limits imposed upon us by the forces that control the material world. Once we reject the imposed box, the structures of control that limit our minds and souls, we can embrace our infinite potential. We must remember that the black cube represents only one part of reality, the physical, the material, the limited. But we are spiritual beings, and our true nature lies in the boundless, the limitless, the infinite. The cube may have shaped human history, but it is not our destiny. We are destined to transcend it. The black cube is a powerful symbol of the forces that seek to bind humanity to the material world. Forces that wish to limit our understanding, constrain our potential, and prevent our spiritual awakening. But it is not invincible. The power of the cube lies in the belief that it has control over us, but once we see through its illusion, its grip weakens. We must reject the belief that we are bound by the limitations of the material world, by rigid systems of thought, by external authority. Our true power comes from within, from our direct connection to the divine and the infinite potential that exists within each of us. The time has come to shatter the cube, to break free from the systems of control that have kept us confined for so long. By rejecting the forces of limitation, we can liberate ourselves and step into the fullness of our divine potential. The journey to freedom begins with the recognition that the black cube is not our destiny, and that we are capable of much, much more. The world is full of infinite possibilities, and we have the power to shape our own reality. We are not limited by the cube. We are limitless.